These are the games I've 100%ed in the first 4 months of 2025. I'll be sharing my thoughts on their plot, achievements, and my overall experience. So this is your spoiler warning for all the games discussed today. I'll try and be light on the spoilers, but as I am discussing the games, some might slip through the cracks. At the end of each review, I'll rank them in the tier list from S. Even after I put this down, I couldn't stop thinking about it to see I completed this, but at what cost? Wow, you guys are so tiny. You're very Zort. Zort is a chaotic horror comedy indie game released in December 2024, where you can either play solo or with up to 3 friends. Escaping monsters across 2 current maps, Zort again, a closed down bowling alley / restaurant, and Yozgat, an abandoned town. It plays like a true horror game with actual scares married with side-hurting fun. My friends and I found ourselves constantly surprised from being killed in the first level and sent into the back rooms. Oh, I'm in the back rooms! No! Where it has all your friends speaking backwards. To punting an ominous ball that follows you around on the second level. You need to chase my bowling ball, mate.
That was good.
Bounce. It's not what I expected to happen. You can shrink, which shifts your pitch.
How are you gonna shrink? I bet you're gonna shrink. Ready? He's gonna shrink.
Oh, he's gonna come out of the little door.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey, Cal!
Hi, Cal.
Wait, play the music.
Guys, it's terrifying.
Oh my god.
Wait, me next.
It's so good. Wait, should we all do it? That's amazing.
Hi, guys.
You need more.
Hello. Oh my god, that's creepy from this way. The creativity here is off the charts, and the emotes are chaotic brilliance. Oh! Even with all this creativity, it still manages to surprise you at the end with a battle of the bands.
Hold my feet.
Yo!
Oh shit!
Sucks.
Zort's achievement list is a mix of 4 you get from just completing certain parts of the game, 5 collectible based ones, and 2 action based ones like bowling a strike. The rarest, with only 0.4% of people actually obtaining, is collecting 20 mimics, but the hardest is hands down Sweat and Blood, which requires beating both episodes on Chaos mode, which is increased difficulty and permadeath. It took me 4 hours and 20 minutes to 100% Zort. It's an early access title with more episodes to come, and I'm definitely excited for the future. That being said, replayability is a bit limited right now, with only 1 escape path per map. Despite being an indie horror comedy, Zort is surprisingly polished with just a hint of that classic XD random indie game energy. For £3.34, it's worth it if you want some of that more Lethal Company style fun with friends. And for that, I'm going to put it in tier B, which is, it's fun for a few hours, but not a must play, but definitely worth a night with friends.
Mate, how clutch is that? Holy moly!
Wait, it's first
So striking on
Wow, so if this is the Inner Worlds, that makes this the... Outer Worlds is an exploration-based puzzle game released in May 2019. You play as the Hatchling, taking your first flight into space. The main game loop of Outer Worlds is slowly going from planet to planet, uncovering clues and slowly piecing together a mystery before the inevitable happens. At first I was totally lost, but I kept following the ship log and eventually I was absolutely hooked. This game is the embodiment of discovery, each new clue unlocking a new path, and just when you reach something incredible, the music swells. Your time is up, but now you know exactly what you need to do. Outer Worlds has an achievement list that balance exploration with serious challenge. The 3 hardest are Archaeologist, which is find every ship log, difficult especially with the Quantum Moon, and the Chert related ones with him having a little mentee bee at the whole end of the universe. Surfer, which is ride the tidal wave for 15 seconds. This took me absolutely ages. In the end I had to just watch a bunch of people do it. One of them had a brilliant technique of just shoving it in a corner and kind of just hoping for the best, but you know, it works and it's repeatable. hotshot was the hardest for me, which not only required you to land, but to get out and get onto the sun station. I swear to God, I have a moth in my head that just pulls me into the sun because giant lamp. The total time it took me to complete Outer Wilds was 32 hours and 54 minutes to 100%. Some of those hours were just me absolutely getting obliterated by the hotshot challenge, but I had fun every single second of this game. And I haven't even touched on my favourite part of the game, which is the DLC. The Echoes of the Eye, a masterpiece. It manages to expand the story without it feeling like an add-on. It's more horror orientated. It also manages to expand on your current mechanics and relies on the light of your torch to open doors, turn on projectors, and even steering. And then it takes all external light away. Wandering around dark villages with nothing but a torch while monsters are trying to extinguish your light, terrifying and genius. I really don't want to say much more about the game, as it's really something you just have to experience. The game has so much character without having any voice acting, and all your information coming from beautiful Nomani text or even pictures. The soundtrack, also exquisite. Into the Wilds, Echoes of the Eye, Traveler's Encore, all Song of the Day material. Even after I put this down, I couldn't stop thinking about it. One of the best games I've ever played. For that reason, it has to go in tier S. If you have played the game but not the DLC, absolutely should. Unless you're a little scaredy cat, you little scared baby, you little baby. Baby. Stupid. Wow, is this fantasy? Now it's sci-fi? God, there's a real genre divide here. It's kind of like a... Split Fiction, released March 2025, is Hazelight Studios' latest co-op innovation. You play as Mio and Zoe, writers pulled into a simulation hosted by the mysterious Raider Publishing. Mio gets pushed into Zoe's simulation. You fight for a whirlwind of genres, from superpowered pigs to shutting down solar flares and extreme sport levels. The game is bursting with creativity and heart. You slowly uncover why Zoe and Mio became writers and different stories that they made, pulling from different experiences in life. Hazelight always nails achievements. Robot Revolution, Are We the Baddies, and Locked Up are all standout achievements that fully embrace the unhinged freedom of zero consequences in video games. Whether you're casually shattering a glass bridge to send people plummeting, beating up a poor robot just because it exists, or locking your friend in jail purely for comedic timing. Cold Potato was definitely the hardest for us, which is completing the game show segment without letting the bomb go off. This has got multiple attempts, shenanigans.
Let's go!
Open it. Most of the other achievements are standard fare, complete the game or do some random side task, but the real gem is You Are Not a Robot, which has you frantically solving increasingly ridiculous captcha prompts to unlock a phone before the time runs out. It's stressful and it's hilarious. It took us 13 hours to beat it, one of which we had a wild 9-hour sprint to finish. It never even dragged once, and the final level was one of the most brilliant designed I've ever seen in any game. It blew my tiny brain so hard I kept dying from the sheer awe of it. Split Fiction builds on It Takes Two, but dials everything up to 11. The genre-bending storytelling, co-op mechanics, Hazelight just keeps getting better, and for that, it's tier S. It's brilliant from start to finish and with more heart and creativity than I ever expected. It just has to be my favourite Hazelight game so far.
It could be a horse.
Oh, it's me! I'm the horse!
Ooh, a fire. Huh, guess you can call me a... Firewatch, released in February 2016, is a first-person walking sim with no combat or puzzles, just exploration and dialogue. You play as Henry, a fire lookout in Shoshone National Forest. With only a vague map and Delilah on the radio, you perform odd jobs and navigate an increasingly tense mystery. But Firewatch isn't about the mystery, it's about loneliness, grief, and two people escaping their lives in the vast wilderness. However, you also get to stumble around lush landscapes in different phases of sunlight with a wide, fantastic range of colour that every screenshot feels like a motivational quote you'll see at a doctor's. I enjoyed Firewatch, I just wouldn't call it one of my favourite games, as the gameplay was lacking and the ending left me feeling disappointed. It felt anticlimactic to me, but I can see how that's kind of the point, as it was more about the relationship between Henry and Delilah, which was amplified by their incredible voice acting. Achievement-wise, there's only 10 from Firewatch, 5 from the main story, and 5 missable ones, mostly about the forest inhabitants. The rarest, I'll show Sean, which has 7.2%, which required you going behind some bushes at the start. However, the most interesting to me was Shutterbug, which makes you take 18 pictures on a disposable camera, which actually appeared during the end credits. Total time, 4 hours and 24 minutes. It's short, but a meaningful experience. I enjoyed Firewatch, however, the gameplay and the ending felt a bit like a letdown, but I think this is a beautiful crafted story about escapism and connection. So for that reason, it's tier B for me. I would recommend to play it, as the ending might land better for you. 4 months in, 4 games 100% completed. Looking back over the games, I clearly just like a genre bend, and I will not comment any further on this.